Hello, everyone. Welcome to English for You. I'm Angeline.
And I'm Erin.
So both Erin and I are Canadians.
That's right.
And we're proud of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia. What about you, Erin?
I'm actually from a very small town. I guess a city in Canada. It would be a town maybe in Taiwan. No one's ever heard of it, so I'll just say the name. It's called Moncton, and it's in a province called New Brunswick. Now, fewer than 140,000 people live not only in Moncton, but in all of the surrounding areas.
Okay.
So it would be like saying Taipei and New Taipei City is 140,000 people. That's kind of this similar idea.
Okay.
So in the town of Moncton itself, there's less than 70,000 people.
Wow.
Right.
And you are one of them, and you're not even in there
Well,
anymore.
I was one of them. I'm not really anymore.
Okay, so I haven't been to New Brunswick, but what do you miss the most about New Brunswick when you're there?
The nature. Now, I know Taiwan is beautiful, but there's something about Canadian nature that you just can't get here.
I agree.
Also, the cooler summers. But why are we talking about this?
Well, our article today is about the smallest town in America.
Okay.
But before we get started, though, I thought I'd find out more about the smallest town in Canada. And it is in Newfoundland, which is another province. It's called Tilt Cove.
How many people does it have?
You want to guess?
No, not really.
5 people.
Okay, well, today's article is all about another small town in the U.S., so let's get started.
Reading.
The smallest town in America. Hometowns hold a special place in our hearts. No matter where we go, we can always return there to see family and old friends. This isn't true for Elsie Eiler. She lives in Manawai, Nebraska, where the population is 1. This makes Manawai the smallest town in the U.S. Manawai, a population of 130 in the 1930s. Then, people started leaving for better job in bigger cities. In the end, Eiler was the only person who didn't hit the road. Today, Eiler runs a small bar, and she manages the town library as well. It has a collection of 5,000 books, even though Eiler is the only person who reads them. Eiler also the town's mayor. To keep the town running, Eiler taxes herself to pay the and water bills. When asked why she stays, she simply says she still loves living there. Although she's the only person in Manawai, Eiler isn't lonely. Each year, thousands of tourists stop by to see this almost ghost town.
All right, so our article begins today by saying, hometowns hold a special place in our hearts. Now, the word hometown is a noun, and it's spelled Hometow'n. It's taking the words home and town and putting them together. Now, a hometown technically is the place where a person is born and spends their childhood. For example, my hometown is Moncton, Angeline's is Vancouver. But sometimes it just means the place where you call home. Right. Now, for example, we could say Derek went to university in a different city than his hometown.
Okay, so hometowns do hold a special place in our hearts because our article says no matter where we go, we can always return there to see family and old friends.
Okay, now this is where things get to be a little bit strange, however. The article says this isn't true for Elsie Eiler, however. Now, the phrase be true for somebody or something means that something is true and not made up about someone or something. So the article is saying that returning to a hometown to see family and old friends is not true for Elsie.
I wonder why. Well, our article says she lives in Monowai, Nebraska, where the population is, get this, 1. The population is 1.
Okay.
The word population, 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 refers to the number of people who live in a specific place. For example, Singapore has a population of 5.399 million people.
That's a lot different from Monowai.
And I thought Tilt Cove was small in Canada. Monowai is even smaller. I can't imagine living in a town where I was the only person.
Right, so the population of 1 is Elsie Eiler. Now, I can't imagine doing that either. It actually doesn't sound great at all. And of course, as the article says, this makes Monowai the smallest town in the U.S.
So Elsie Eiler wasn't always the only person living there. Okay. Our article says Monowai used to have a population of 130 in the 1930s.
130 is still a really tiny place. But where did all those people go? The article says, then people started leaving for better job opportunities in bigger cities.
Okay, so our article tells us that in the end, Eiler was the only person who didn't hit the road. Okay, so we've come to our shortcut for you for today. Let's take a quick break to learn more about the phrase, hit the road.
Shortcut for you.
Here's the plan, Vina. We take my car and drive all the way round Taiwan, stopping at the most beautiful spots.
That sounds like a great idea.
Cool. In that case, let's hit the road.
Won't that break your hand? You can't drive if you break your hand.
Relax. To hit the road means to leave or begin one's journey. We can use it to mean start a trip or to head back home.
What a useful phrase. Hit the road means 上路出发.
Great. After we hit the road, maybe I should teach you some more useful phrases.
If you do that, I'll fall asleep for the whole trip.
Come on, let me try.
So, hit the road means to leave or to go somewhere or to start to take a trip. Now, let's go back to our article. Elsie Eiler is the only person still living in this small town. What is life like for her? The article says, today, Eiler runs a small bar and she manages the town library as well.
Okay. So I guess in a town with only one person, the library doesn't really need to be very big at all.
No, not at all.
However, our article says it, being the library, has a collection of 5,000 books, even though Eiler is the only person who reads them.
That's kind of like me.
You have 5,000 books?
I know, but I'd like 5,000 books.
Okay, so the noun collection, 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 refers to a set of similar things that you keep together. So a library has a collection of books, magazines, and even DVDs.
Right.
Okay, let's use the word collection in an example sentence. This store has a large collection of wine from all around the world.
Now, the phrase even though is a slightly stronger form of although. we use it when we are about to say something surprising. For example, even though Isla is the only person who reads the books, she has 5,000 of them. So that's kind of surprising.
It is.
Now, another example could be Carl owns a successful business even though he never completed university. All right, so that's another interesting thing.
It is surprising thing as well.
Yeah. So the article continues on to say, Eiler also serves as the town's mayor. Now, I guess that makes sense. She'd have to be the town's mayor because there's no one else to be the mayor.
So she's the mayor, she's the bartender, she's the librarian.
She's a busy woman.
And that's not all. Our article says, to keep the town running, Eiler taxes herself to pay the electricity and water bills.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a look at our fourth vocabulary word, tax. T-A-X. Tax. In our article, the word tax is a verb, but before we understand what it means to be taxed, we need to know the meaning, the noun form of this word, okay? Tax is money you pay to the government for public services like school or health care.
Right.
The tax in Taiwan is 5%, okay? So if you are being taxed, you are paying taxes.
Right.
Let's use this word in an example sentence. The government taxes its citizens to pay for the country's health programs.
And that's a really good thing because that means you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to go to the doctor. Now, we also saw the noun bill here, which is spelled B-I-L-L, bill. Now, a bill is a document that you get that shows how much you owe somebody for goods or services. For when we go to a restaurant for a meal, we ask the waiter or waitress for the bill when we're done. Now, we also get lots of bills in the mail every month, like the internet bill, the electricity bill, the gas bill, the water bill, the phone bill, so many bills. Another example is Catherine didn't pay her credit card bill on time, so she had to pay more the following month. All right, now, I was interested in knowing more about this town, Monowai, so I looked it up.
Okay.
There's a few videos on YouTube that tell you about it and show you what it looks like. You can go find those for yourself. But there's an old church that hasn't been used since the 1960s.
Okay.
Now, there's a bunch of old abandoned buildings that used to be stores and even a small factory. And there are 4 streetlights, and obviously Elsie's house and the library and bar. There doesn't seem to be much else, though, which brings us to the next line of our article. When asked why she stays, she simply says she still loves living there. Now, I challenge all of our students out there to try saying this sentence 3 times fast. I doubt you'll be able to do it.
Okay, and then our article says, although she's the only person in Monowai, Eiler isn't lonely.
All right. I think that's because there are many farms in the area. And they come to Elsie's town for books and food. She actually is famous in the area for making hamburgers.
Is she? Wow.
Yeah. So she's got a few people nearby that she knows. And the article also tells us each year, thousands of tourists stop by to see this almost ghost town. Now, the phrase stop by means to visit somewhere before you continue on to another place. So many people stop by this town to get food before they go somewhere else.
Okay, so a ghost town isn't really a town with ghosts. It's actually a town where most people have left, or all the people have left and no one lives there anymore. So when you drive through ghost towns, you can still see the buildings, but they're all empty.
Right.
And it's kind of strange. It's
It
like
is.
somebody lived there, but
They don't live there anymore.
anymore.
It's actually a bit spooky,
Yeah, a
which is
little bit.
why they have that name, ghost towns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, another interesting fact, there's another almost ghost town just a few minutes away from Manawai. It has a population of 2 people. So it's a little bit bigger. It doubles the population. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's all the time we've got for today's small town article. Go and research Manawai for yourself if you're interested in more, and stay tuned for our For You chat.
For You chat.
Okay, so our For You chat question today is, would you still live in your hometown if everyone else left?
Probably not. I would have to say I like having some private time, some alone time without people around. But having that all the time, that's hard.
But you could be the mayor, you could be the librarian, you could be anything that you'd want.
Well, I mean, I don't really want to be a mayor. And I would be a librarian, I'd say that. And I'd probably be a bartender too. But, I mean, that sounds like a really lonely but busy life. I guess I don't know, I guess those things don't usually go together in my mind. It doesn't sound too bad, but I need other people around. Yeah, there's people you need to have people you're close to.
Right.
You know, and I like to have choice. I like to have the option to go to one bar one night and another bar the other night. I don't really go to bars, but I suppose if I did, I would want to have many options.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you, Angeline?
Okay, well, for me, I think if, say, for example, I had my family with me in this hometown, and maybe the family would be only 10 people, I would be fine with that because people would come and they'd go and they kind of, we would still meet people and that would be fine.
Okay.
But just to be the only person, it would be really lonely. I think I would start talking to myself, and that probably wouldn't be a good idea. I might serve food to imaginary people.
Just to keep yourself busy, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like a good way to make people go a little bit crazy. Yeah. So, what about you guys? Would you guys live in your hometown if no one else was there?
Can you imagine Taipei with only one person?
Nope. I can't. I think it sounds like a zombie movie, actually. Yeah. I think it would be too spooky for me. All right. Have a chat about it with your friends and your classmates. Even ask your teacher, what would they do? But for now, that's all the time we've got for today. So for English for You, I'm Erin.
And I'm Angeline.
See you next time.
Bye.
The smallest town in America. Hometowns hold a special place in our hearts. No matter where we go, we can always return there to see family and old friends. This isn't true for Elsie Eiler, however. She lives in Manawai, Nebraska, where the population is 1. This makes Manawai the smallest town in the U.S. Manawai used to have a population of 130 in the 1930s. Then, people started leaving for better job opportunities in bigger cities. In the end, Eiler was the only person who didn't hit the road. Today, Eiler runs a small bar, and she manages the town library as well. It has a collection of 5,000 books, even though Eiler is the only person who reads them. Eiler also serves as the town's mayor. To keep the town running, Eiler taxes herself to pay the electricity and water bills. When asked why she stays, she simply says she still loves living there. Although she's the only person in Manawai, Eiler isn't lonely. Each year, thousands of tourists stop by to see this almost ghost town.
Vocabulary Review.
Hometown. Every month, I return to my hometown to visit my parents. Population. The state of New York in the U.S. has a population of over 8.4 million people. Collection. Ross bought some unusual stamps when he was abroad to add to his stamp collection. Tax. This branch of the government is in charge of how much to tax each income group. Bill. My water bills are always higher in the summer because I take more showers then.